So this customer told me that my post for the shrink wrap, the bottom of it gouged the vinyl flooring somewhere, which don't really know where that happened. It was minor. He said it was no big deal. Maybe he even fixed it by now. But to make sure that doesn't happen again, I got feet for my post. So taking care of the customers. Got shrink wrapping box. We just all out of the back of the truck. Got the roll of shrink wrap. We got some propane tanks, ladder, 2x4s, and then I keep the gun inside and power tools. And that's it. Run this whole business out of a pickup truck. No big deal. Welcome to Buffalo Boat Shrink Wrapping. In this episode, I'm going to do this little ALUMAcraft again. See the customer right there. He's going to help me get off the canvas. That summer snap cover, you got to fold that up and put it inside the boat, or I think we actually left this one in the customer's garage so they could store that. That way the shrink wrap has to go on without the canvas there. So as usual, John's going to get to strapping up the hull of the boat, and I am going to work on the framing on the top. I believe these posts are reused from the previous year. So I already got posts and I got the caps on them. The front of the boat has a little upper level. I think these are a little taller than they need to be, so right there I'm getting a height. Usually go like 6 to 10 inches above the highest point on the boat. That gives you enough slope for the snow and the rain to come off. So I'm just going to mark the new height with a knife. Cut it off with my skill saw over the side of the boat, that way I don't get the sawdust inside the boat. Mark that second post. I'll cut that one to the new height as well. Working in my buffalo plaid hat, looking like a lumberjack. So he says, how do I tie this so it stays tight? So this side loop, right, is going to come from our bow. This is going to be the band. So it's going to go through this hook. So we don't want to dry this here because it'll be floating away from the boat. So you want to tie it back here. You want to tie this to the boat as possible. So you want us to tie this tight to probably here, right? So all you do when you tie it around something is just get it at the tightest spot and then pinch it here. As you wrap this around.
But this is gonna want to come down. Like, you want this to be like down here though.
Like firstly, these are just used to hold this to the level, but when we shrink it, it pulls up, it's gonna pull up. And it's gonna be tight here. Right. And the shrink just needs to seal up against this rub rail. That's it. And that's knot tying school. There's a lot of different knots. Basically a Boy Scout / sailor pirate to be a professional shrink wrapper. Getting that front post tied down real tight. Get the 4 tie down points. First 3 tie down points are just kind of tight. Fourth tie down point pulls the whole thing tight. You get the back post up there, so I get the back 2 corners to start off with. I'm gonna hold that post in the middle while John ties down that other tie down point. That way it's right in the middle where I want it. Alright, so to tie my center line across the top, I'm going to do the same thing in the back that I do in the front because there's no center hook to tie off to. I'm going to make what's called a bridle. In this case, it's just going to be a big loop that's going to pull up to about here, and then I'll tie one side of it on. Same thing with the front. There's no cleat in the front and the middle, so I'll make a big loop that goes around the point of the front, and then I'll tie the other end of the center line there. That's it. That's the best way to tie the center line to an outboard motor. Just make a big loop, tie the center line to it. Same thing with the front. There's no cleat in the middle, so right there's my center tie down points in the front and the back. And I don't tie the center line to the post caps because I don't want it pulling on the straps in any direction and loosening up any of those tie down points for the post. So that's just going to float across the top. I'm going to tie it right to that loop in the back of that motor. And then you can crank that down pretty tight. Tape it so it doesn't move. And then here's another technique we do for the belly band. In the back of the boat, I just tied that other little loop on the bottom of that outboard motor. So that's going to be around the same height as the belly band. So we'll tuck the shrink wrap into that. So go through that hook. And then usually where the motor hinges off of here, there's some holes down here you can use, but I actually don't see any. You can just go under it. You just go right through there. So you tuck the shrink wrap into that strap, and then you'll also tuck it in around the motor down there.
Under the ladder?
Yeah, and the shrink will stay, you know, when this goes under here, the shrink will stay tight up against the boat. Well, I would probably shrink over the ladder,
behind the
right?
ladder so it stays tighter
otherwise
to the
you're gonna
boat.
have that. You'll see when we actually do it, it's better to keep the shrink tight to the boat as you can. There's that belly band getting tied off. Now you see how the framing is done. I forgot my jack stands here, so we're just going to use 2 ladders to unroll the shrink off of. Sometimes you gotta shrink improvise. Rule number 1, you gotta be able to shrink improvise on the spot. You pull it over till it's just past the belly band on the opposite side, cut it off, put your shrink away, unfold it all. Even it out on the middle, left to right, front to back. Make sure it goes past the belly band on all sides. You want to make those cuts where the straps are on the side of the boat. That way you can tuck the shrink underneath the belly band, trim off the excess. You only need like 4 to 6 inches past the belly band enough to fold it over and weld it up. I like to get the sides welded first so it doesn't go anywhere in the wind. I'll usually weld the side on the middle on both sides, especially if it's windy out. See, we tuck the shrink wrap around that little loop on the bottom of the outboard motor that we made, and also that and the strap right on the back of the boat. This is the way. Go around, weld the perimeter all the way around the boat. Welding any pleats going up. In the front of the boat, if you got enough extra on the front, you wrap it around the winch too. Customers like it when you cover that up for them. After you do the whole perimeter, see that I add the extension pole on my shrinker, and then I shrink up the rest of the boat. And while I work on that, John will clean up all the scrap plastic and the straps, help move the propane tank around for me so we can keep it moving. This is the most satisfying part, watching it shrink up. Tape any burn holes or any sharp spots for reinforcement. There's the scrap. We just weld that into a ball. That makes it easier to recycle, and that's a well-shrunk boat. Thanks for watching.